I've ever talked with anybody from this group, but I'm happy to do it. Sounds like these guys got their act together. My next guest is Maggie Kelly, assistant editor for a group calling themselves the College Fix. Maggie, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Lee. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. So you have a piece out. Public university provides faculty of color grant money to gain tenure. Tell me about this.
Yeah, so this is an unfortunate story about Central Connecticut State University in my home state. I'm in Connecticut. And they're providing, it's one of these DEI, I'm sure your audience is familiar, committees that take up so much funding and so many people and personnel, and they're basically offering exclusive grants, funding for projects that are all kinds of projects, chemistry, business, politics, to minority faculty based on their minority status. So we see this ideology coming straight from Ibram Kendi, the kind of the king of anti-racism, the priest of anti-racism, that the only way to combat past discrimination is present discrimination. And this isn't money to recruit minority faculty. This isn't money to help them, get jobs. It's money to fund their proposals, which means that once again what we're seeing is that these universities are prioritizing diversity over merit or quality. So the point is not the best research proposal in chemistry or business or whatever, the one that will do the most good. The point is that the proposal is going to come from a minority person, and that's how they're determining who's going to fund it.
And looking through this, just to sum it up, maybe I missed something, but it looks to me like it says essentially whites not apply, right?
Yeah. No, we actually whites not apply was something that we a member of the CCSU community, Central Connecticut State University community, said exactly that. Whites need not apply. So that's the gist.
Right. I mean, this should be infuriating to not just, white people. It should be infuriating to everybody. I mean, are you getting any of that or no?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the College Fix publishes a lot of these kinds of stories where the point is that these universities are over and over again, they're prioritizing what's best for everyone and what's based on merit. They're prioritizing diversity over that. Yeah. So they're giving out these things to people based on their minority status and not based on kind of what they can contribute to the common good or what they can excel in.
No, but let me just rephrase my question. I mean, I did a bad job asking it. I mean, if I were black, I'd be furious that this was going on. First of all, because it's an insult to me. Yeah.
Right. I mean, if I were a black chemist, then I would want to know that my proposal is getting funding because it's a good proposal and not because I'm a black chemist.
Exactly, 100%, exactly. So I guess the point was: are you feeling any pushback from the general community on this, or is it sort of like the laissez-faire attitude? It is what it is, and what are we going to do about it?
Well, Connecticut is a blue state, and I haven't seen any kind of local pushback, but we have a lot of. We know from our readers and our community that there's just a lot of pushback nationally to this kind of stuff, and it's happening everywhere. And you see this in, the efforts in Florida and Texas and in other places, and even by some liberal groups to push back against the diversity, equity, inclusion kind of apparatus.
Right.
That we see just extending its tentacles everywhere.
So within your article, which I will post everyone on our website and social media, if Maggie doesn't mind, I'll definitely throw that up there. But the CCSU stated definition of discrimination defines it in part as subjecting individuals to different treatment so as to interfere with or limit the ability of the individual to participate in or benefit from the services, activities, or privileges provided by the university or otherwise adversely affect the individual's employment or education. So they stepped on their own tongue there.
Yeah. That's kind of a mouthful, but what this policy is doing, what we wanted to highlight, is that it violates their own description of discrimination. So not just, the common sense description of discrimination, but what they say is discrimination. And we also think that it violates the Civil Rights Act, too. And we contacted Title VI of the Civil Rights Act says discrimination based on race, color, national origin, and programs or activities that receive federal financial assistance is forbidden.
Yeah. Clearly, it's a case of that, no question about that. Tell me a little bit about the College Fix. I don't know if too many people know about that. What is it that you guys are trying to accomplish? How long you've been around? Give me a little background.
Sure. So we've been around for about 15 years. I used to get the exact number, but we were a news organization that focuses on higher ed dispatches from campuses all over the country. So we tell stories about colleges and universities, mostly in the U.S., but some in Canada. And we focus on, we have a right-of-center perspective, so we focus on stories that might be less covered by the mainstream media. We do a lot of research on cancel culture, a lot of reporting on DEI initiatives and so-called diversity initiatives, but really all kinds of things related to higher ed.
Is there a newsletter folks can get from you guys? Because I think I would like to subscribe to this. I think I would like to be a part of what you guys are throwing out there. And actually, this article, correct me if I'm wrong, is put together by somebody from the University of Alabama, right?
Yeah, so the other component of what we do is we have a dual mission. So one of our missions is to tell underreported stories from colleges and universities all over the country. The other mission is to recruit young, talented, independent-minded, many of them are conservative journalists from across the country. And we find these journalists at college campuses. So all of our journalism is fueled by students, by undergraduate or graduate students. So we have a team of editors that works with the students, and students. So the students write the stories. So the students are powering and doing the stories and doing the reporting on the ground, in many cases. So we're student driven, and the idea is that we get students to report on the environments where they're living and where their friends are and where they're participating every day, and get a student's eye view of what's going on in American academia.
Well, listen, thanks for doing what you do, because we need you guys. We talk about this often on the show, how, in particular, at higher education levels, we're getting an indoctrinated. Student is becoming indoctrinated almost at every single level.
And the media as well. So we hope in doing this to shed a light on what's going on in colleges, and also to train up young journalists with integrity who we do actually place in many organizations around the country, many media organizations. So if there are young people listening who are in college who want to shed a light on what's going on other campuses or on other campuses, then you could reach out to me at mkelly@thecollegefix.com, or you could just visit us at thecollegefix.com, and we'd love to hear from you.
All right. It was a pleasure to talk to you. I hope we can do this again. I appreciate you carving out some time for us today, and best of luck with all that you guys are doing.